Porque aqui no Brasil, todas as decisões do Ministério da Saúde dependem majoritariamente do presidente da República. Ele, inclusive, trocou de ministro da Saúde no curso da pandemia, ou seja, no intervalo de pouco mais de um ano, a gente teve 4 ministros da Saúde, porque nenhum deles, os anteriores, se encaixava exatamente no que o presidente queria. E o último deles a ser demitido agravou enormemente a pandemia justamente porque fez o que o presidente da República queria. Então, num país assim, tão dependente da vontade do seu governante, em que o governante adota um negacionismo explícito, inclusive em relação às vacinas e à sua compra, não torna inválido o que o senhor falou a respeito da pouca importância do peso da liderança no agravamento da crise?
Well, I don't want to get drawn into the details of Brazilian politics. I'm an American-based academic and haven't been to Brazil for more than 2 years. Clearly, it has been a recurrent theme of media coverage of Brazil that President Bolsonaro intervened even more than I think Donald Trump did in the Brazilian public health response. But it's also a theme, if you study Brazil closely, that Brazil is not a dictatorship and considerable power still continues to be wielded by the political parties in the Congress. Moreover, the question that needs to be asked is a counterfactual one. Would Brazil have avoided significant excess mortality with a different president? You can ask the same question about the United States. Would things have been different in 2020 if someone else had been president, if Joe Biden had been elected earlier, or if somehow Hillary Clinton had been elected in 2016? And I think the answer is that it would have been somewhat different. It might have been somewhat better with a non-populist president, but I don't think it would have been massively different, because the things that caused excess mortality in a country like Brazil were not that different from the things that caused it in Peru and in other countries in the region. By and large, Latin America has a relatively aged population. It has relatively poor health. Therefore quite significant comorbidities. It also has a relatively weak public health service, and therefore it was very difficult for all Latin American countries to cope with this new virus. And Brazil did by no means the worst. It was in fact much less badly affected than Peru, which didn't really have a functioning president at all. So I think it's tempting, very tempting, to blame everything on populist presidents who were unpopular already amongst many people, particularly journalists last year. But I don't think it's entirely convincing to say that a different president would have had a much better success. You know, show me the country in Latin America that succeeded in dealing with COVID-19. Latin America tends to do badly in pandemics. It did badly in 1957-58 with the Asian flu. It did very badly in 1918-19 with the Spanish flu. So let's not make it too simple a story. By all means, you blame Bolsonaro for the mistakes that he made, just as I blame Trump for the mistakes that he made, and I blame Boris Johnson for the mistakes that he made. But let's not kid ourselves and pretend that it would all have been fine if somebody else had been in those jobs.